Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the MMFunded private live stream that I'm going to be hosting here on YouTube this morning, just to give you guys some insight into what we're doing here at MMFunded. And firstly, I just want to start off today's stream by giving you guys a bit of a really simple psychological fix that you can apply in terms of journaling your trades and also overall ultimately improving your funded trading journey and your overall trading space. Okay, so whether you're trading a demo account, evaluation, or live account, it doesn't really matter. I want you to try this out when journaling your trades. So yesterday we were having a look at EU. Our trade plan initially was longs. We did share this trade live on stream yesterday and we had a missed entry. Still looking to follow through to target those overall week highs after the internal shifted bullish. Beautiful play of price action really throughout the entire December. And I'm just really looking to continue riding this through until we get a convincing internal shift to potentially then follow through a much larger play of the swing structure. Okay, but coming back to what I was saying regarding the journaling trick that I want you guys to use is as soon as you enter a trade, for example, we got tagged in here, or even if we didn't get tagged in here, I want you to open up your journal. I will leave a link. I will add the link to the YouTube description after the stream, download link to this, and I want you to document this trade immediately off the bat as a loss, regardless of what the trade has done. As you've entered the trade, I want you to document that as a loss. So if the trade either does this, continues in your direction beautifully, or does something like this, let's take the scenario of where price does something like this, and potentially this has happened. Now, where this is so powerful is once you've already documented this as a -1 and price does this, this does not actually affect, or does not overall affect your equity curve. And the reason this is so powerful is because if you allow yourself to assume this is a loss, it kind of puts you in a place where, and a much better mental place where it will allow you to let this trade plan play out. It kind of comes back to a awesome quote that Gary Vee often says, a massive influencer on social media. He says that when asking somebody or something for someone, always have zero expectation, because if that expectation leads to the worst outcome, you've kind of mentally prepared yourself that you have not expected anything from that, therefore you won't leave yourself in disappointment, which is kind of a similar kind of a mental play out over here that you can try and use when journaling your trades. Okay, so I will leave a link to this journal down below. I really want you guys to start documenting and journaling every single trade that you take, simply because it's a great way to really refine your emotional edge when trading. The document I created over here allows you to enter the date, the time of entry, your long or short entry, your pair entry price, whether this is a scalp, swing, position trade, the criteria to enter, so whether that's a phase D or phase A, phase C, or whatever phase you're in, S&D, internal shifted bullish, AMD confirm, for example. All right, any indicators that you use, your account balance, your stop loss price, TP, your RR, which again, this is where you can document +3, +4, +5, or your -1, your exit price, the trade costs in terms of percentage, your exit reason, percentage of the account risk, closed P&L, account change percentage, so that's your gain or loss, your screenshot where you can add your trading view link, any notes and mistakes that I want you to add in your journal. So every single trade that you take, and I want you to make this a New Year's resolution potentially for 2024, is try and document every single trade, and you will see a significant improve on your trading journey by the end of 2024. Okay, so that will be my tip today for you guys starting off today's streams, is start documenting every single trade and use potentially the psychological trick when entering your trades. Hey gents, I hope all is well. Good morning CJ Trades, Project X Trades. Good morning Jay. Good morning brother. Hope all is well. Happy to have you here. Hey Jay, where's the journal? The journal is currently inside of the Discord, but after the stream, I'm going to post a Google Drive link in the description of the YouTube video. I don't want to edit the stream now while I'm busy streaming. As Murphy's Law, something will happen to the stream. So I'll just add that to the link of the description. Otherwise, you can just send me a message on Instagram and I'll send it to you from over there as well in the DMs. At Nikos, greetings from Greece. Much love from South Africa. brother. I'm glad to have you here on stream this morning. Okay, so let's get started what we were really looking at with EU. Then I'm more than happy to have a look at any other one or two pairs that you guys want to look at. Quick top-down breakdown on EU and the reason why we were looking at longs yesterday. Again, we just had a missed entry. Absolutely beautiful. I'm 100% happy with this. Again, once you sort of psychologically click with yourself, you start to trade according to your trade plan, and from there, zero expectation. If it plays out, beautiful. If it doesn't play out, also even more beautiful. If it's a miss entry, even 3 times as beautiful. We move on to the next trade plan. Okay, so hopping down onto the daily on EU, all we've really had in the last couple of months is our most recent daily structural shifts to the downside. 4 hour internally shifted beautifully bullish to cater for that daily pullback, and as of the end of November, we then shifted bearish on the 4 hour. Okay, after the 4 hour shifted bearish, we had mitigation into all the areas of demand to cater for that 4 hour PB phase, where really we've just been riding this pullback with phase C longs pretty much since more or less the beginning of December. We then had mitigation into the 4 hour change of character supply, and we've pretty much just had a bit of a range. Now, really from here, price can do one of two things. If we create that structure shift to the upside, we'll most likely continue with a larger daily swing pullback, and price can either take out the daily strong highs, shift daily bullish to continue with a much larger potential monthly or weekly pullback. And then all we can expect from there is a bit of a daily pullback to follow through and continue targeting those daily weak highs. Otherwise, if price continues to pull back further, that 4 hour starts to realign bearish in realignment with the higher time frame daily, we can then start to look to target price to those daily week lows and potentially even the weekly swing week lows. So again, many different scenarios that price can play out. There's many different trade plans that you can formulate in the morning, different ideas of price, different expectation of order flow. But the main important thing that I want you to take away from really every single stream that I host is I want you to take note of how I and my members learn to react to price rather than trying to predict what's going to happen. Okay, I used to be in the Discord, brother. Is it the same journal? Because I still have it. We have posted 1 or 2 new ones. I've got 2 different templates for the members to use. Also, I'm not sure when you previously left the Discord, but the Discord has really been updated a lot since pretty much August and September. There's a lot of new course content coming as well. But ultimately, the reason why we also haven't really been hosting the SMC live show is simply because I live stream every single morning on the Discord from about 8 o'clock till sometimes 10:30, 11. Then for me to hop onto the SMC Livestream Show here on YouTube to stream from 10 o'clock almost until 1 o'clock, that's like 6-7 hours of streaming a day. And most days I struggle to find the time to stream every single day on Discord and YouTube. I still got to trade myself. There's still other things that I'm busy with as well. Hence why I'm kind of a little bit indecisive at the moment on what to do with my YouTube channel. I'm trying to kind of like find that sweet spot where I can still create content for MMFunded, for the private members, but also give you guys consistent content here on YouTube. So I maybe are thinking hosting potentially every second day or so, the public MMFunded or the private MMFunded stream here publicly on YouTube, so that you guys still kind of have access to that information and what we're busy teaching here. But if you guys have any ideas, let me know. That will be really great, as obviously I don't want to stream publicly every single day on YouTube because I do need to keep some of the source available for the private members. So we're expecting EU to tap out the M15 highs like GU. Well, yeah, so internally has realigned beautifully bullish with the M15 swing to continue targeting these weak highs. So the only scenario I will start looking for shorts, let me just quickly update this for you. We've now had our most recent internal structural breaks here, also a bit of a pullback, internal structural breaks here, making this our new updated strong lows. Okay. Weak highs internally is if price shifts convincingly bearish. I'd like to see price take out the internal swing or the internal strong low, putting supply in control, then potentially shifting overall 4-hour pro trend and daily pro trend to start looking for a larger playout of shorts to potentially look for a swing trade to target those 4-hour week lows and even the overall daily week lows. Okay, the only reason I'm not happy to execute those swing shorts, which has been my trade plan now for the last couple of weeks, close to about a month already, is simply because the M15 has not realigned itself yet. Until we get the confirmation on our third structure type, being our M15 internal, I'll be more than happy to look for that. But in the interim, more than happy to start looking for those phase C 4-hour swing pullback longs, which the M15 is currently sitting at, confirming that. Okay. What about a New York stream then, Jay? Most mornings, I'm really just streaming between 8:30 and 9 o'clock in the mornings, so that we really have context or clear context going into London session and New York session, and really the overall day as well. Predominantly, I'm a London trader. I don't often trade New York session, but when we do have a New York stream, I do post in advance, and I'll be more than happy to hop onto New York stream. I'll actually run a poll with the members this morning. I'll ask them if they prefer New York streams or London streams, simply because I'm predominantly a London trader. I mostly stream London session. Okay, are you still going to continue the videos you were doing? Are you talking about the videos here on YouTube or inside of the Discord? Okay. While that comes through, I know the chat is a bit delayed, but I'll continue with price, but I am reading the chat as we go along. Okay, so yeah, in order for me to look for shorts, I want to see a convincing bearish internal shift on the M15 to put supply in control. As soon as we get a bit of a pullback, fractally start shifting bearish, I'll be more than happy to use that as confirm with my 1-minute model to ultimately get that tight as risk to reward as possible to start targeting those swing week lows. Okay, now I'm not saying this is definitely what's going to happen. This is just speculation and potential expectation of order flow. We'll react to this if price prints that. And that's the beautiful thing about trading. Once you start to understand the algorithmic movements of price, you are extremely flexible in what you can expect from price and learn to react from there. Okay, if price continues shifting to the upside, demand and control, we get a bit of a pullback, I will then be happy to execute longs with my valid 1-minute rule-based confirm to target those weak highs. Another scenario that can happen, but price has not gotten there yet. Once it gets there, I'll react accordingly. And that's what I want you guys to start learning, is start to formulate your trade plans and react from there. It will eliminate so much emotional stress, it will pretty much eliminate the habit of trying to force out trades, trying to trade every single day. December now has actually been a super profitable month, but it's the month where I've traded the least because I'm executing really high probable setups and trade plans and reacting to them as they play out. Besides that, I'm not even interested in looking at the markets. I will set my alerts for the day. If price doesn't get there, I won't even hop onto TradingView that day. Okay, the SMC ICT videos, there was a section in the Discord on it. So there was the public ICT bootcamp, which pretty much the core content has been created. And then the streams, the SMC Livestream Show, this stream over here as well, will also be a part of that bootcamp content. Okay, so that's basically a free mentorship for anybody to watch. I really recommend go through that, as that content alone will help you tons in potentially finding 1 or 2 gems that you've been looking for, understanding the 3 structure types that I teach here, also then with my liquidity models, my entry confirmation models, and ultimately putting together your own entire system for you to backtest. Okay. So, continuing with EU, one more question here. Where's your M15 strong low? M15 strong low remains the same as the 4-hour week low. All right, previous M15 break, new strong highs that took out that week low. Pullback started, we then took out that M15 strong high, making this a new strong low. All right, the M15 pullback only starts once we identify an internal break of structure to the downside. Okay, so over here we had just internally bullish, no internal bearish shift. So this was not a valid pullback. This was more just a pause in price action. And over here, we had also internal shift, new strong lows, and then we broke structure to the downside. So this is my rule-based criteria, is the internal confirms the swing when that pullback is going to start. Okay, so as soon as this candle body closed below the internal strong low, this becomes an internal strong high and also our M15 swing weak high. So this is currently the entire M15 swing range that we're working within. Very large swing range, but once you apply your rules, it becomes really clear in understanding that. Okay, we then had a bit of a pullback mitigation into older areas or more recent areas of demand. I ultimately wanted to see mitigation of the discount of this overall swing range, but we had that internal confirmation off of the recent demand. Internal shifted bullish. All right, beautifully respecting demand fractally, targeting those weak highs, pullback, looking to just follow this through and target ultimately those overall M15 swing weak highs. Okay, the entry criteria for yesterday was just standard 1 minute AMD, mitigation, displacement FEG after the sweep, but we didn't get that tap into our FEG. Okay, so that was where the missed entry comes in from. But again, I'm 100% happy with that. Morning Jay, do you trade NAS 100 at all? No, I don't. I do market often, as I do have a lot of indices traders inside of MMFunded, so we often cover NAS 100, S&P 500, and US 30, but I don't trade it myself. My three main pairs is XAU, EU, and GU. Okay, is finding the swing and internal structural points discretionary or mechanical? Because I struggle to find which points are valid, which of points of valid structural points is. Okay, so when it comes to your swing structure and identifying that, really what you want to look for is clear, visible structure to the eye. Okay, clear highs and lows. For example, if we backtrack a little bit on EU, all right, daily break to the downside, strong high, pullback, weak lows, target to the weak lows, pullback started, new weak lows. Okay, internally shifted bearish to target those weak lows, new strong highs, bit of a pullback. Price then broke structure to the upside. Also, the higher time frame daily change of character of a higher time frame, weekly or monthly POI. Okay, pullback, weak highs targeted. The internal just really continued bullish until we shifted bearish, signaling the start of the pullback. All right, new strong lows, weak highs targeted. New strong lows. Internal shifts bullish, ready to target those weak highs. Pullback started, weak highs targeted. New strong lows, pullback. We then shifted bearish, new strong highs, pullback started, weak lows. Expectation to follow through internal, which is our 4-hour swing, to continue targeting those weak lows. As remember, the mechanical 3 structure types that I teach in MMFunded is really the combination of the following. Okay, the daily being your higher time frame swing, your 4-hour swing being your daily internal, which we use to confirm the daily. Okay, so in a daily POI or after the daily break of structure, we use the 4-hour to confirm if price is going to start the pullback, when we can mark out our daily weak high. And if we're coming into a higher time frame daily POI, we use our 4-hour as confirmation to start looking for the initial order flow to continue from that POI. Okay, so an example is if we have mitigation of the POI, higher time frame daily POI, and that 4-hour strong low, break of structure, weak high, shifts the opposite direction, that is confirmation that price is now ready to potentially continue following through with its overall daily swing structure. And then within here, remember, we have M15 structure, which we also use as our confirmation on the 4-hour to ultimately get that really tighter risk to reward. And that is what comes down to our 3 structure types, and which will lead me back to this note for you over here. We then use our M15 swing, which is our 4-hour internal, and we use that to confirm the 4-hour. Okay, so once you start to apply and understand all 3 of these in correlation together, you start to get a really clear understanding of price. As remember, in most mentorships, the form of structure is taught as so, higher highs, higher lows, or however you taught. But remember, price does not look as clean as this. All right, within, let's say, our daily time frame, we have smaller 4-hour structure. Okay, that happens within our larger time frame swing legs. And within that 4-hour, we have tiny, smaller M15 structure. Okay, I can go on and on and on here. And even within this M15 structure, there is even smaller 5-minute and 1-minute structure. And this is where the markets are beautifully fractal. So what happens on the weekly, structure will apply on the 1 second chart. What happens on the monthly will apply on the 1 minute. What happens on the 25-minute chart will happen on the 3-minute chart. Price is fractal. Structure rules apply on every single time frame. Because why price follows structure is simply, if institutions are buying, there is forms of demand orders in control. These weak highs become your draw on liquidity, as per ICT teaches. Now, what I've done here at MMFunded is I've taken pretty much well over 50 mentorships. I've been through all of ICT's concepts. I've been through MentorFX, Photon, flipping markets. I can list them endless mentorships that I've been through. I've taken all of the knowledge that I've learned and I've built my own mechanical rules out of that via concepts of structure, supply, demand, liquidity concepts, Wyckoff, manipulation and price, and put that together in an understandable system in MMFunded called the 3 structure types. So what that allows me to do is that allows me to hop onto price every single morning, applying my fixed set of rules, allowing me to be as disciplined as possible, and at the same time to get a really clear crystal picture and contextual understanding of price. Okay. So that's also one thing you'll hear me say to my members inside of MMFunded and here on YouTube as well. I can take you to all the source. I can give you all of the inside information. But what's so important and the difference that will be for you is what you do with that information. It's now up to you to take the information that I've given you to start back testing, forward testing, use the 12-month roadmap that I've posted in MMFunded to formulate a nice plan and path for yourself to collect data, to prove the concepts that you've learned is working through hardcore proven data, and ultimately keep on refining and improving that system to build your own edge and to build your own system. So really what I'm saying is you need to take all of the information that I'm teaching you here to build your own system out of that, to practice and experiment and tweak that as you go along in your trading journey. Okay, because there are members inside of MMFunded that strictly trade 3 risk to reward. All they look for is, for example, let me just quickly remove all of my Koki pens. I've really made a mess of this, haven't I? Okay, I can actually just, I think I can select all of that. There we go. We'll get there. Right, as I was saying, a beautiful system one of my traders has formed inside of MMFunded. Really, really simple. Something so simple, but so effective. It allows them to take anywhere between 3 and 5 trades a month, but they are extremely profitable in doing so because it's a simple mechanical rule-based trade plan that they've worked out for themselves through backtesting years of data, refining and tweaking their edge. All they do is they look for, all right, daily swing structure, daily week lows. So immediately they will only be looking for shorts on price. Is from the daily, they will hop over to the 4 hour and they will wait for the 4 hour to realign with the daily. Okay, 4 hour boss, 4 hour strong, 4 hour weak highs. They will wait for price to mitigate the extreme, only the extreme 4 hour supply that's in control. They will then hop over to the M15, look for that M15 change of character. Here was the IBOS, new internal or strong high, weak low. Okay, and they will only mark out the extreme POI. And all they will do is entry on that M15 POI, stop above that POI, mechanical 1 to 3R. That's their system. So very good example of somebody who's taken all of the concepts that I've taught to build their own unique rule-based system out of that. Unlike me, where I like to refine into here, looking for my AMD with inside of here, fractal structure, AMD confirm FEG, I just like to look for that really tight risk to reward because I'm the kind of trader who's happy to take 9-10 losses in a row, but that 10th runner that I get that is a 30 or 40R puts me far beyond in profit, and those 9-10 losses that I took in a row now becomes completely really irrelevant to the profit. And that's just the position that I like to put myself in. That's what psychologically works for me. That's what works for me based on years of backtesting, years of practice, years of backtesting and forward testing simulated data of price. Okay. If you guys want to use a great tool to start backtesting yourself, I use fxreplay.com. It's about $30 a month. I'm not an affiliate. You can head over straight to the website. You can actually simulate prop firm challenges. You can enter your account size and you can actually place orders. You'll see on this video now, you can actually place your trade orders based on your analysis. For example, like this guy over here, and you can actually go and place your buy and sell limits and simulate prop firm challenges. So really handy tool, and you can go years back on the data, which is really nice. Okay. All right, so I know I've been babbling on, well, really going on about, why is this disappearing? There we go. About a lot of important stuff, but I really hope that you guys have taken a lot away from what I'm explaining to you guys this morning. So yeah, all right. Let's get back to the technical stuff and EU and our three major pairs. But looking at EU this morning, yeah, all I would like to really see is if we do form, I like this liquidity that's busy forming for the extreme internal demands. If we do get some kind of double bottom liquidity sweep, I'll be more than happy to look for my AMD model, which is, again, initial mitigation after the liquidity sweep, reaction, sweep of that low, displacement FEG to confirm the model of distribution to target those relative weak highs. So I'll be more than happy to look for something like this. Okay, if I do execute, if this plays out and we decide to continue bearish or even no confirm, no long entry, and we take out these strong lows, I will then be happy to start looking for phase A shorts in line with the 4-hour and the daily pro trend. The M15 obviously realigning itself with that. Okay. So again, it will just be a reaction to what price does is I mark out my POI and will react from there. Alrighty. But does everybody have a clear understanding of where EU is currently lying? So daily, currently bearish. We're busy in the premium extreme of this overall daily swing range. 4-hour has shifted bearish as well after the mitigation into the daily supply. 4-hour supply and control. The only thing I don't like is after the mitigation into this demand, CPI played out. Which was as per the anticipation to start that 4-hour pullback. So the news move was absolutely beautiful. Just with a lot of bullish momentum, no liquidity formed for the supply. It was kind of just a break and a sharp pullback. So there is the possibility price could sweep the supply. Okay, so if we do get that sweep and that M15 starts shifting bearish, I'll be happy to look for that liquidity model sweep. Otherwise, if we do get that break of structure to the upside, which this 4-hour candle will need to close, this will then become our 4-hour strong lows, new week highs after that anticipated pullback. And really from here, one of two things can happen. If that M15 starts to realign bullish after that 4-hour pullback, we can look to continue targeting those weak highs. Otherwise, if M15 continues bearish, we'll then again form a new 4-hour break, strong highs, weak lows after that pullback into supply. And once that M15 again starts shifting bearish, more than happy to execute those swing trades. Okay, so as you can see, everything is a beautiful patient game. The XAUSD swing trade that I took a couple of weeks or about a month back already was a trade plan that I planned back in June and July already. So it took me 4 months of waiting to eventually execute that 130-hour long position. And still on top of that, I took, I think, 3 losses and a missed entry. Well, 4 losses and a missed entry before actually catching that runner. So if I actually come back to XAU, which can lead us to breaking down XAU, way back over here on the M15, before price targeted the weekly weak highs, yeah, this was the 130-hour long position that we planned pretty much way back over here already. So coming back to the weekly on XAU, just to give you some context onto this, we were way back over here in July. This area busy shorting XAU, riding that overall weekly pullback. What I eventually discussed and wanted to see was that daily to shift bullish, to then start looking for that swing trade to target those weak highs, at least after the mitigation into the extreme weekly demand, which is exactly what played out 3 months later. And all I did was react to what happened inside of over here using our 3 structure type rules. Okay, so coming over to the 4 hour shifted bearish, which is exactly what I wanted to see after the daily break of structure, to the upside, realigning with the overall weekly. Okay, we started the daily pullback, and this is where was the perfect opportunity to now start planning that swing trade, because this is exactly what I wanted to see, was after the daily pullback, which we confirm by the 4 hour shifting bearish, 4 hour supply here in control, trapping out millions and millions of dollars of SMC traders looking for shorts after this 4 hour change of character, very clean off the daily supply after the sweep of liquidity, but completely missing the understanding of their structural story. Okay, so after that 4 hour break, mitigation into the M15 or the 4 hour POI, M15 shifted bullish. And this is where now the M15 has realigned with the daily and the weekly to now continue targeting those weak highs. All right, so initially I had this POI marked out over here. Initial trade plan 1 was to execute longs with our 1 minute AMD model. Okay, trade plan 2 was, well, this was initially a miss. We then created new M15 structure context that pulled back into this demand, where over here I had, let me come back to the M15. Yeah, over here was the initial, in this POI, a -1, also AMD, swept out. AMD reprinted itself at a missed entry. Then again, price left without me. Okay, new M15 break, new strong lows over here. Pullback started, internal shifted bearish, mitigation into the extreme POI. I was more than happy to execute AMD, but also over here, we took a -1. So that's our third -1. And then eventually the overall long runner, which we got tagged into, which was also the sweep of that low 1 minute displacement FEG to confirm distribution and the higher time frame structure story. So even though this week between really the 14th and the 20th was a win rate of about 15%, it was still about was close to about a 15% return on this trade, minus the 0.5% on losses, was still a 14.5% return on that week. And that is where, again, once you put yourself in that position where you understand trading as a percentage and mathematical game, win rate actually becomes completely irrelative. I know of traders that win maybe 1 out of every 10 trades, but are still extremely profitable because they understand the risk to reward and percentage game behind the mathematics of trading. Okay, so that comes back to why I like to trade these extreme high risk to reward trades, because I'm more than happy in the future now. For example, after this 130R trade, if I take 129 losses after this, risking the same percentage that I risked on this trade, I will then only be at back at break even on that account. So that means in the future now on XAUSD, I can afford 129 losses in a row, and I will then only still be at break even. And that's the beautiful thing about percentages and risk to reward. Okay, so XAUSD, yes, as well. XAU looking for longs, internally beautifully realigned with the M15 swing. M15 swing realigned beautifully with the 4 hour to potentially target these weak highs. And we still want to see that candle body closure on the weekly, above the weekly, to confirm that break of structure, as that's the expectation. Okay, so even now, a few months later, XAUSD, the expectation is, if I come back to the 4 hour, all right, 4 hour break, weekly weak highs targeted. On the weekly, this was just a sweep, not a candle body closure. So therefore, the expectation still remains for price to target these weekly weak highs. 4 hour pullback started after the M15 shifted bearish, as per the expectation, after the weekly liquidity sweep. Okay, pullback into the extreme of the 4 hour swing range. CPI kicked in beautifully. Again, all news is doing is catering for the move that, or catering for price to go into the direction that it's already going to go. All CPI did was cater for that M15 shift, as per the expectation of the higher time frame POI, to confirm the realignment to now potentially target those weak highs. Okay, so I'm more than happy to stay long on XAUSD if we potentially get that break, a bit of a pullback to follow through to target those weak highs. The only scenario I won't be trading XAUSD is if that M15 shifts bearish, potentially for a bit of a larger 4 hour pullback. But once we get that M15 realignment, again, happy to look to target those weak highs. Okay. So looking at XAUSD this morning, going into price action today, all we've really had now is these internal breaks to the upside, internal strong lows, internal weak highs, areas of POIs over here. This is really just an entire demand fractal range. Nice double bottom liquidity. Okay, so if price does pull back to this area of interest, I'll be happy to take my 1 minute confirm to target those weak highs. We also have had this fractal break to the upside, also putting these demand areas in control. So if we do get a pullback into this demand, also with our 1 minute model, again, initial reaction, ideally an accumulation to sweep displacement FEG to confirm distribution, I will be happy to take long, target those M15 weak highs. Okay, so that will be my ultimate trade plan on XAU. Understanding that longs is all phase A, being swing and internal pro trend. Shorts is phase D, counter swing and counter internal, which is always theoretically the lowest probability phase to be trading in. The more I watch the streams, the more I see how I was in the traps the whole time. I'm starting to understand structure pretty good now. And that's the biggest mistake that a lot of smart money concept ICT traders make, is they're not understanding their structure story of price. Okay, as supply and demand can happen everywhere. Let's have a look at this example. Okay, mitigation into higher time frame POI, sweep of liquidity, beautiful potential play out for shorts. Okay, displacement FEG, market structure shift. This must be now that golden FEG zone to start taking these shorts to ride price to wherever your targets are, these lows, these higher time frame POIs, wherever it may be. But once you start to understand your structural context of price, your M15, your 3 structure types, your 4 hour, your daily, your weekly, understanding that these weak highs is now your draw on liquidity, because we've had that break of structure, these strong lows. The expectation is to respect these strong lows and target these weak highs. Immediately, now, understanding your structural context, we ideally want to react to what price is doing here. Demand is in control. Here's our draw on liquidity. So we want to see long opportunity to rather target these weak highs. Now that you're understanding your structural context, you've completely shifted to the complete opposite side of price, looking for longs, keeping you on the right side of price. And that's what 3 structure types is mechanically there to help you do. I say mechanically because it's a more fixed rule-based way of identifying your structure story. Okay, so beautiful scenario where here potentially tons of short traders could get stopped out. Who knows? Maybe price mitigates this area of interest, continues a bit short, but understanding the pullback off this area will just most likely cater for an internal pullback into the discount of this entire swing range. We can start to confirm our longs to rather target those swing weak highs. Okay, so hopefully that's kind of a good illustration of where a good example of potential short setup completely that looks crystal clear, beautiful, after the liquidity sweep, as ICT teaches, displacement fair value gap, market structure shift, liquidity resting for that zone. Beautiful scenario, but it's against your structure story. And the reason I know this or discover this is because I've spent, when I say endless hours until early in the morning, backtesting ICT concepts, supply, demand, all sorts of things, EMAs. Without understanding my structure story, I found that I was 80% of the time on the wrong side of price, where I'm shorting in, let's say, silver bullets or Judas swing against a market that is the complete opposite. So I'm shorting a bullish market where the internal and swing is bullish. And that was the mistake that was making the entire time. But again, I learned how to correct those mistakes through backtesting, putting the time into researching my own strategy. And what really changed my game in trading was understanding the structural concepts and story of price. Because once you understand that, you can trade anything. You can trade support resistance and be completely profitable. Okay, beautiful. M15 break, support resistance or key level here. Okay, we can anticipate the pullback. Internal starts to shift bullish off your resistance now becomes support, confirmation to target the weak highs. Because although this is a retail concept that we don't teach here, it doesn't mean you can't be profitable with it. But once you understand your structural context of price, you will find that you will automatically shift to the right side of price. Okay, so this also, again, comes down to a whole nother topic of discussion, which we actually discussed on the stream the other day inside of MMFunded, is there is no right or wrong way that you can trade. If you trade pivots, if you trade support resistance, if you trade trend lines, EMAs, VWAP, I don't know what else there is, indicators, or raw price action of structure, supply, demand, FEG, liquidity sweeps, which for me, personally, I believe is what the algorithm of the markets is designed to do, is manipulate via those concepts. But what I'm saying is you can be profitable with anything if you backtest and if you put in the work. And also what will help a lot with that is understanding your structural context of price will then allow you to trade really any strategy that you want. Okay. But with all of that being said, does everybody have a clear idea of where XAUSD is a potential trade plan that I'm looking at? Remember, I don't stream for the sake just to live stream trade. I will execute a trade plan on stream if it does play out, but also I don't trade every single day. So there is going to be many streams where I don't take trades. I'll mark up my trade plan. And if in the morning price gets there and my 1 minute model plays out, I will then execute. But even then, executing my trade plan, I don't want you guys to fall into that mentality of having to rely on my trades or anybody else's trades as a matter of fact, as I've been through hundreds of both failed and very successful signal groups. But even on these successful ones, signals and relying on other people's trades never leads to long-term success in this industry. The ultimate way, and this is why I'm so focused and I instill this in a lot of my members to get them into that mentality, is to learn the skill yourself through being exposed to the right content. Seeing my streams will help you a lot in understanding of that consistency in applying my 3 structure types and trade plan every single morning. If it plays out, beautifully, we execute. If it doesn't, beautifully, we don't execute. On to the next day. No emotions involved, we move on. And it's that consistency that I want you to see every single day in applying that trade plan, executing based on your plan. And that will overall start to put you in that mentality and mindset of muscle memory and starting to learn how to do that yourself. Okay, so I gave quite a nice correlation yesterday on stream. We spoke about how trading is so similar to learning how to drive or learning how to speak English. All right. When we were kids, we were all babies. We didn't know how to speak. Our parents sent us to school for years from when we were 3 to 5 years old or whatever. And we spent every single day learning A, B, C, D, E, F, G, apples, bananas, whatever it was. But after that consistency of 2-3 years of going to those classes, we now today can speak English without even thinking about it. It's second nature. And that's eventually where you will get to with trading. You will get to a point after hard work, hours, practice, and hopefully through what I'm able to give you here, to a point where you can see this without even having to mark this up. All right, so let me come over to a random pair. Let me do NASDAQ. I don't really look at NASDAQ. I'm going to remove all drawings. I can hop onto the daily, the weekly, any time frame, and I can see the expectation of order flow, price, without even having to mark it up. Okay? Daily break. Previous structural shift, maybe a larger weekly swing structural shift. Strong lows. Internal strong lows. Weak highs haven't been formed yet. So immediately thinking longs is going to be higher probability to continue with this until we get a more convincing internal shift to ride a much larger pullback. Without even marking it out, it becomes second nature, like a language of your own. And this is a skill that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. And that is why I'm so focused on teaching you how to be independent at this yourself. Okay. Give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach him to fish and he eats every single day. 100% true. That is a beautiful quote that I've stood by for since school days. Really, really good quotes and really, really true in terms of trading. Okay, but coming back to XAUSD after my long psychological speech now, do you guys have clear understanding of XAU, what we can potentially expect going into the rest of the week, and also what we potentially can expect going into the new year. So going into the new year, I would ultimately just like to see a continuation of this internal structure to target those weak highs. Again, I'm not guaranteeing or saying what this is going to be, what this is going to happen. This will be a reaction. If the M15 continues, we'll get involved. If the M15 doesn't continue, we'll wait, or we can potentially get involved on pullback shorts before then continuing along. Remember, we have no idea what price is going to do, but what's so important is we can lay out our potential playout of our three structure types, and we can react to that once price prints that. Okay. And then even upon all of that, any entries that you take, I want you to start journaling. In the journal, every single trade that you take. I'm going to slap this in front of your faces every single stream. Journaling is so important when it comes to understanding your reason behind your trades. I've specifically marked out over here mistakes, lessons, emotional notes that I want you to make, emotional state of mind, any additional notes, and I want you to fill this out in as much as detail as possible. Okay. Alrighty, then I think, is there any other one or two pairs that you guys want to look at? I've really only been trading EU and XAUSD pretty much for the last couple of months now. XAUSD, I didn't touch really since this area of price in August to October. I didn't trade XAUSD at all. I was just waiting for that internal shift, for then that internal to start realigning, to start looking for those longs trade plan. And in between this period, I really only traded EU. EU has been such a clear market for me. Is the journal going to be posted in the Discord? It's already in the Discord, but for the members here or the viewers here on stream this morning that's not in the Discord, I'm going to post it in the description of the stream straight afterwards. And then also I will post it, or you can message me on Instagram and I'll send it there for you as well. But I will post it on the stream afterwards. I just don't want to edit the stream while I'm busy streaming. As Murphy's Law, like I said, something will happen. Maybe the stream will stop. But I'll make sure I get that to you guys. Can you maybe have a look at GU? Yeah, sure thing. Okay, so GU, very similarly to EU, previous daily break, mitigation of all the areas of demand. 4 hour shifted beautifully, internally bullish. All right, pull back into demand off the higher time frame POI to continue targeting those weak highs. Pull back to continue targeting those weak highs. Internally continuing bullish, larger swing pullback into demand to follow through and target those weak highs. So GU has been super clean, really since really December 2022, following our daily order flow, daily shift, pullback, so many areas of price where we could have potentially got involved. Okay. So coming from the daily, understanding we've had our daily break, daily strong highs, daily weak lows. Price is currently in the daily pullback phase because the 4 hour is still bullish. Until price shifts bearish, we are still in the pullback phase. We could say signal the end of the daily pullback phase once that 4 hour confirms the bearish shift, because remember the 4 hour is our daily internal, which confirms the overall internal of the swing. Okay, so once that 4 hour shifts bearish, we'll have strong highs, weak lows after that pullback. I will be more than happy once that M15 starts to realign to potentially target those daily swing weak lows. Okay, so that's just a potential longer term speculation that could play out. Again, we don't need to worry about predicting that. We'll react to that once we get there. Jay, do you look at DXY for extra confirmation? I don't at all. I don't look at any divergence on any pairs. So I don't look at EU and compare that to GU. I mark out each and every individual structural story on price, on EU and GU separately, because, well, at the moment, GU, where the 4 hour is bullish, on EU, it's bearish. It's the complete opposite. So good example of why I follow each and every structure story individually on each pair. Okay, because once you understand that, you don't need to look at other pairs for confirmation or confluence, because, well, you've already got a clear enough story of what price is giving you. Okay, so from the daily, we can hop over to the 4 hour on GU. Okay, previous 4 hour weak highs were targeted, new strong lows. Lowest point after the pullback, after the previous break of structure, that targeted the next, or the latest weak high. Okay, so all of these movements over here, let's see if you guys can get this right. The guys in MMFunded might. Why aren't any of these movements valid 4 hour swing pullbacks? Why didn't I mark this out as the weak high, or the weak high, or the weak high? Can you guys comment in the chat if you think you know why? I'll give it a minute or so for the chat to update, and then I'll explain to you guys why. Okay, while you guys are busy typing in chat, so the reason why these were not valid for our pullbacks to make these the weak highs is because within this price action over here, the internal never shifted bearish. This was still bullish, respecting buy to sell weak demands. It didn't shift or take out the strong lows. Okay, same thing here. Break, strong low, which is also our M15 swing, pullback, target to the weak highs. Okay, and remember, we confirm the start of the 4-hour swing pullback once that internal shifts bearish to make that a valid weak high. So all of this was bullish internal until we shifted bearish internal, making that a weak high. So therefore, all of this was the 4-hour swing pullback, internal shifted bullish as per CPI's anticipation to then target those weak highs. So lowest point after the pullback that created the next break of structure. The M15 did not shift bearish. Beautiful. 100% correct. Didn't break structure, just a pause in price action. Correct. Really nice. Discounts and premium of higher time frame. So for me, price, this was the previous strong low. Wasn't the weak high yet. Price does not need to mitigate the discount in order to validate the weak high. All that needs to happen is an internal shift, whether that's in premium or discount. But if you want to make a part of your rules that price has to mitigate the discount, there's nothing wrong with that. That's 100% valid to add to your trade plan or to your rule based. So for example, over here, let me just quickly remove all this cookie junk. Okay, previous 4-hour break. Okay, strong 4-hour strong low at the time. We can take our high to that low. Here, price did indeed mitigate the discount. So therefore, this could have then been your valid weak high if that was your rules. But for me, all that needs to happen is the M15 swing just needs to shift bearish to continue targeting that weak high. Okay. If, for example, in the scenario where price has the break of structure, but it's a really large M15 swing range and your M15 strong low is here and your M15 weak high is here, and it's the same as the 4-hour, then you can potentially use the scenario of price needs to mitigate the equilibrium to validate this as a weak high and a pullback. Or, as we discussed in the private content in MM-Funded, I like to use at least 400 points. Okay, so from, for example, let's go 1.24 400 to 1.40. 1.40 is also significant enough. Let me just quickly delete that, make this a little bit more clearer for you. You can also use the rule of 400 pips to identify your pullback. So let's quickly over here mark out, for example, 1224, 400, and 1224, 1.24, 0. Okay, so if price, you can then use that as your kind of like a 400 pip move. So if price breaks the structure, moves 400 pips, you can then mark it out as a weak high. That's also a decent rule that you can use. Okay, but looking at GU now, all we've really had is the 4-hour break. M15 has now shifted bearish after this these internal shifts to the downside over here. Okay. Our swing week highs still remain the same. Also on GU yesterday, we really had a miss on GU, XEU, and EU. Just looking to continue the fractal bullish structural shifts to the upside after the manipulation into the higher time frame PY. So again, AMD, initial reaction, break of structure, displacement FEG, and I took a continuation, missed entry over here after this internal break. Looking for inside of here that 1 minute FEG, which price never mitigated to target those weak highs. So again, all 3 trade plans that I was looking to execute yesterday on stream was all a miss, which is beautiful. We move on to the next day and react to price from there. Okay, so now if we update price as is, we have had our internal shift. Yeah, this was a valid break. Was that a body closure? Yes, it was. So this was a valid break to the upside. Oops. Let me just zoom in here a bit better. Okay, a valid internal shift with a candle body closure, new strong lows broke to the downside. Okay, we then really just respected more recent areas of supply, also extreme areas of supply up here. So internal has now shifted bearish to potentially continue with now a much larger 4-hour swing pullback into the extreme of the 4-hour swing range. As in this example, M15 strong lows is also the same as our 4-hour swing strong lows. Where then again, if that internal starts to realign, we can get involved in longs to target those weak highs. Okay, if we shift 4-hour bearish, which is the eventual expectation to take out these 4-hour strong lows, then we'll have 4-hour break, 4-hour strong highs, 4-hour weak lows. The 4-hour has realigned itself with the daily, which will then be potentially good probability within the next, 2024 to target those daily weak lows. Okay, so all potential playouts that we can expect from GU, but we'll react to that as price gets there. Specifically this morning, because the internal has realigned bearish, I would be happy if price potentially pulls back, or we've got another supply fractal range here. So we are due for a bit of a internal pullback, which we can anticipate of all the areas of demand. All right, want to see our 4 criteria for this area of supply to potentially continue with phase C shorts. So that's M15 pro trend, but swing counter trend, the daily swing being bullish or bearish, apologies. No, therefore shorts over here is phase B, internal counter trend, but swing pro trend. Okay. So that will be scenario 1, is if we do get a bit of a pullback to these areas of supply, even potentially really the displacement FEG over here, we can look for AMD model inside of here, execute, potentially target those lows, and look to just ride price to these deeper areas of demand. But because the M15 is bullish, I'll be happy just to look for mechanical 3 or 4 Rs to target those internal weak lows and really just follow that through until that internal starts to realign bullish to target those weak highs. Okay. So that would be my potential trade plan on GU. As price is now, I'm not going to force longs off over here, as really this is a large bearish push. But if we do get some kind of inducement to potentially sweep with a 1-minute AMD model, potentially then happy to look for longs if that plays out to ride price to areas of supply. But yeah, price really has just been bouncing back and forth between the M15, no real clear movement. So we've had the bearish shift, bullish shift, then another bearish shift. So price has really just been ranging within over here. Okay, so therefore in a scenario like that, I usually just target mechanical 3 or 4 Rs. Alrighty, but everybody happy with GU? So again, trade plan 1 is if we do form, or trade plan 2 is if we do form liquidity for this higher time frame extreme POI to sweep with our 1-minute AMD, happy to look for mechanical 3 or 4 long. Otherwise, if we do get a bit of a pullback, liquidity for these areas of supply to sweep our draw on liquidity into the higher time frame POI with our 1-minute model to continue short to target those weak lows. Okay, so those are 2 scenarios I would look at GU, and hopefully we'll see if it plays out later today. Alrighty, check GBP JPY. Alrighty, let's have a look at GJ. I'm just using the 8-cap feed, as that's the feed most prop firms uses. Okay, so let's have a look. I don't know when I last updated GU, but GJ, from what I last see, we were about over here. I see now we have 4 hours shifted bearish as per the anticipation after the daily break. So really beautiful to continue more with the daily pullback. Okay, daily pullback into the extreme demand. I see if we do shift 4 hour bullish here, I will be more than happy to then expect a bit of a 4 hour pullback. If that M15 starts to realign with the 4 hour and with the daily, actually potential opportunity for a swing trade to target those daily weak highs. Let's just have a look at the weekly. Okay, this is the monthly break. Okay, I think this was the weekly break, weekly pullback, the weekly weak highs. So also the potential, the expectation is to target those weekly weak highs to cater for a much larger monthly pullback. Okay, so even potentially if that M15 realigns, let me just come back to the 4 hour. Just want to clean some of that up quickly. I get so sidetracked with this damn Koki Pen tool that it completely messes up the charts. But there we go. Okay, so again, looking at the daily break, daily strong lows, daily weak highs. Okay, we've started the daily pullback after 4 hours shifted bearish, indicating this as well. I'll update the 4 hour now. Just quickly going to finish with the daily. Okay, I can see over here, previous 4 hour, 4 hour strong highs. So if price takes out those strong highs from wherever over here, I can see we internally bullish at the moment. But if we take out the strong high, we can anticipate a bit of a 4 hour pullback into demand areas with the new strong lows. Again, if that M15 starts to realign, happy to potentially target those daily weak highs and even potentially the weekly weak highs as everything is realigned. Okay. Thanks for the breakdown, Jay. You're welcome. So then let's move forward. Oops. There we go. Let's move forward to the 4 hour. Okay. Oh, was this the 4 hour the whole time? Yes, it was. I thought we were on the daily. Okay, beautiful. So then this would be our, that's not a 4 hour break, that's just a liquidity sweep. So this then will just most likely be 4 hour internal, also our M15 swing. So if price, like I said, takes that out, we have also had this fractal 4 hour shift to the upside, which will most likely be the M15 internal. We'll hop onto the M15 now. Valid areas of demand fractal ranges. I just would like to see at least some kind of reaction to sweep into that POI as price is pulling back now. No real liquidity built up. Otherwise, we do have a more extreme area down here. Okay, also with the resting liquidity. So if price continues bearish, we can potentially look to ride that pullback, or we can stay out of price until we stick to our initial phase A longs, where if that M15 starts to realign, we can react to that, get involved to target those weak highs and potentially the overall 4 hour swing weak highs. Okay, so let's come back to the M15. I can immediately see over here, what's all of this? Oh, this is the old extreme daily POI. Okay, even on the daily POI, beautiful playouts of AMD. Initial reaction, okay, even the fake change of character, liquidity, all of this liquidity being in the accumulation phase, sweep of that low, displacement, FEG to confirm distribution. So beautiful higher time frame AMD inside of the daily POI. So therefore we're looking to potentially continue that distribution phase of the AMD model. Okay, so if I have a look at our M15, we have our M15 swing break, M15 strong lows, quickly lining this up neatly. M15 weak highs after the internal shifted bearish. Okay, so expectation of order flow is to follow this through until if we break structure to the downside, then we can potentially look for shorts to target those weak lows. So really one of two longer term trade plans that we can see throughout this week or in going into next week. Specifically today, what I would like to see is, potentially this for me is at the moment the only resting liquidity for this POI. Remember, we need to see on the 4 hour liquidity for a 4 hour POI. And that applies for all time frames. We need to see M15 liquidity for an M15 POI. In this scenario, this 4 hour POI has no liquidity, so I would like to see some kind of pullback or inducement to sweep into that POI, where then I'll be happy to look for the M15 internal shift to go long. Okay. If I had to look for an idea of shorts, all I can really see here is potentially this area of FEG, also this displacement and the supply. So if we do get some kind of pullback without mitigating the demand, potentially could look for, just quickly remove this. Okay, our AMD model, initial reaction, sweep of that draw and liquidity, displacement FEG to continue short, routing price to this area of demand. Also, potential trade plan that we can look at. But I will only look for shorts if price does not come off the demand. Because once price mitigates and reacts with demand, demand is now in control, supply no longer in control. Okay, so trade plan one for me would be to continue potential shorts to ride price to this demand if we do get a bit of a pullback, because then this will be a nice draw on liquidity to sweep into the higher time frame POI. Okay, if price does pull back, sweeps liquidity into this POI, and we do get some kind of AMD model, happy to potentially then execute longs. Okay, so those would be my 2 trade plans. Won't touch price until that plays out. Okay, so are you happy with the breakdown on GJ at Alex Kubai, all the way from the top down to the 4 hour to the M15, ultimately being our 3 structure types? Okay, while the chats or the comments from the chats come through, I want to actually give you guys some homework, both for the MMFunded members and the public guys on YouTube that are also watching this morning. Also, welcome to anybody if you're new to the stream. But yeah, so to end off today's stream, I want to give you guys some homework, and I do this every single day with my private members, and I have seen significant improvement in my members by using the homework that I give in every single stream. So what we do is we open up any chart that we haven't really looked at, and I want you to mark up the daily swing structure, 4 hour swing structure, M15 swing structure, and your M15 internal. Okay, so just to give you guys a bit of a head start, let's use the example of US30. I want you guys to do US30 for homework, and then in tomorrow morning stream, I will host it again on YouTube, simply because, well, I want the guys that are also here that are not a part of MMFunded to take part as well. And then continuing, let's say from Monday next week, we'll continue with the private streams on MMFunded as per usual. Just for the rest of this week, we'll host some public streams to give you guys some nice content and homework to work through and to grind through the December holidays. Okay, so to give you a head start, I want you to mark up the daily swing of US30. Okay, so if I had to mark this out, this will be your daily swing break, daily strong lows. The weak highs obviously haven't formed because the 4 hour hasn't shifted bearish. Okay, if I mark out the 4 hour, this is a bit of a challenging one. Let's just quickly have a look in this price action over here if the M15 did shift bearish. Okay, so was that weak high targeted? No, it didn't, because this was all respected, didn't take out any strong lows, so therefore that wasn't a valid 4 hour pullback. So therefore our 4 hour swing structure comes back all the way over here. Okay, 4 hour break, 4 hour strong lows, weak highs haven't formed. Okay, so the M15 immediately, without even looking at the M15 or the lower time frames, ideally staying along with the M15 internal will be much higher probability until we get that convincing internal shift to start a much larger 4 hour swing pullback. Okay, so 4 hour break, strong lows, also the daily strong lows, and then I also want you to mark out your M15. So just to give you a bit of a head start. Okay, M15 break, swing break, strong lows, and the weak highs haven't formed yet. Internal wise, internal break, internal strong lows. So when price takes out that internal strong low, that will signal the M15 weak high. Okay, so there's just a bit of a head start on your three structure types on US30. So I want you guys to mark this up for me, and we'll cover this in tomorrow morning stream, 8:30 a.m. here on YouTube. Okay, and I don't know if you can post an image in chat. You can't. I will have I'm just trying to think how you guys can send me your homework on Telegram. If you're part of the Discord, just post your homework in the general chat, and I will save all of them there and go through each and every individual's homework there. Okay. If you're not a part of MMFunded, send me your homework on Instagram. Send me your screenshot, and then I will cover that on stream tomorrow. I'm going to make a nice list of everyone's homework, and then I'll add everyone's homework on stream over here, and we'll go through every person's homework, each and individually on the charts. Righty, 1 minute longs on EU. Let's have a look. Okay, so we have had the sweep of that low. For me, price hasn't mitigated my POI. So looking for longs without the mitigation of the POI was not the formulation or not my trade plan. But if we do have a look at the M1, we just really had a standard sweep. I see we did have a displacement volume imbalance gap over here, also here. So when you see gaps like this, over here, these are what you call volume imbalance gaps. This is discussed in the ICT Bootcamp here on YouTube. These are a lot higher or more valuable than standard fair value gaps. All right, initial sweep, just the displacement, but this was not in my higher time frame POI, so therefore no execution for me, not upon my rules. Okay, and also in December, I'm not in an extreme rush to trade, so therefore, if price doesn't mitigate my POI, continues without me, beautiful, no trade. If price, for example, continues to take out these highs and forms a new structure story, I will then be happy to formulate a new trade plan from there. Okay. But if this was within your trade plan, for example, now we've had the sweep of liquidity, new S&D zone valid, and you want to look for a bit of a pullback to find your 1 minute AMD model to execute long there, also 100% valid if that's within your trade plan. Okay. Alrighty, just type in chat, everyone, if you understand the homework that we want to cover for tomorrow morning. Please try and take part in that, even if you're completely new. It's a really great way of going over it live with me, and I help you with each and every individual part or concept that you struggle with, or also that you're getting right with, to ultimately understand what you're struggling with and to capitalize on that and to improve on that. Okay, guys, so just type in chat if you understand the homework. US 30 daily, US 30 4-hour swing, US 30 M15 swing, and then the internal of the M15 on US 30. Okay. For those of you that are also on or not a part of MMFunded, I have created something on the MMFunded page over here. I'm pretty sure you can see that on stream. Yeah. So I've actually added a 1-day free sneak peek where you guys can get free 24 hours full access to MMFunded, just to have a look inside, to have a look and to understand what you're getting. You can quickly brief through and skim through the course content and all of the private webinars over there. So just to give you a sneak peek, once that 24 hours is up, obviously then your role is removed, but at least you have a good idea and understanding in what you're getting inside. So if you want to try that out, you're more than welcome to over there. Okay. Understood. Awesome, guys. Then I'll see you guys in tomorrow morning stream at 8:30. I'm going to end the stream off now in the next minute or so. But just to quickly end off, guys, I hope you guys got some really good value from the stream this morning. I really want you guys to try, and if there's anything that you didn't understand in today's stream, please watch the replays, save it to your watch later, have a look at all the other streams that I've had with Hein. If you're inside of MMFunded, there's about 50 webinars there with hundreds of hours of content. The streams is ultimately more important than the course content itself, simply because it really puts everything together nicely. But obviously you need to watch the course content into understanding what I am talking about on stream. But there is also the free mentorship here on YouTube, which will also give you a really nice kickstart to understanding the way that we teach trading here, and ultimately really have that clear crystal understanding in forming your trade plan, the understanding of price, where the expectation of order flow is going to go. But okay, guys, without further ado, take care, and I'll see you in tomorrow morning.